Welcome to the Sam and Bucky Squared show. We're talking about the Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 5, The Truth. And where's my little... There we go. There's a little with Bucky on there. I'm Candace from the Geeky Waffle, and with me are...
I'm Arzu, also from the Geeky Waffle and from RZD2.com.
I'm Maggie from Your Money Geek and Twitter.
Hello, I'm Norhal from Twitter.
Hi, I'm Laura from Twitter as well.
Hi, I'm Rachel from the Mary Zoo, the Padro, Pascal, and Twitter.
Okay, so let's go right into the episode. We open up with a fight for the shield with Walker, Bucky, and Sam. What did you guys think of this fight?
Oh
my
so
goodness.
good.
So good.
I'm glad they got it out of the way off the top. I thought we were going to build to this, and then at the halfway point, this was going to happen because we kind of saw it in the promos, and I'm glad they got it out of the way right at the beginning.
Yeah, I loved the fight choreo. I thought they were doing really cool stuff with like Sam's wings, and I felt like he really shone in this fight. I was like,
And it had a lot of callbacks to the Winter Soldier's fight between Bucky and Captain America, between Steve Rogers,
Tony.
and also Civil War, Tony Stark, Bucky, and Steve. It had like certain parallels that were really nice on the choreography.
I love the lighting. I was like absolutely obsessed with that entire scene because it has like 10 different lighting setups like that I could tell as far as like the choreography went, and it looks perfect for like when Walker's on the ground and he's not in the light, and then like when Bucky's holding the shield and he's like directly in the light, and it was just cinema.
Yeah, it's like right when he's like giving the shield to Sam, he's bathed in light. Like, this is the right thing to do. And a great thing about
Steve was looking down on him.
Is Steve dead?
No. Well,
He's on the moon.
He's on the moon. He's on the moon.
no, I think Steve Rogers is like, I'm pretending my niece is still not my niece. I'm not going to check in on her. But
Somebody should check in on her.
I'm retired, guys. It's Steve Rogers.
Walker says during the fight, "Why are you making me do this?"
Yeah, listen, that was when you said fight, I instantly was about to be like, I would fight him. I'm 5'2", and I would find a way. Like, I love Riot Rebel, and this like a great way to be a nepotism kid is like play a character everyone's gonna hate, because it's like you're not gonna not have jobs. You're Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's kid, but like. I have never been so angry at a fictional just face in my life. Like, if I'd throw a punch it. And Wyatt Russell, you're so cute, but
it's the way he goes, I'm Captain America. I just want to deck him. I'm like,
can we talk about this?
Like punch him in the face.
That was really, really weird to me because, like, I'm not a massive Marvel nerd in terms of like knowledge. So all the information I'm getting is like from this show, and I feel like from this show he's been Captain America for about 2 weeks. Like, that's the kind of general impression, like a very short amount of time, and it's become his entire identity, and he's like, I am Captain America.
And you compare that to Steve Rogers when he always was, I am Steve Rogers. Even told Groot, I am Steve Rogers. And this guy is, I am John Walker, Captain America. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Listen, I know Maggie got the height. I don't. So I would climb on Maggie's shoulders and just punch him in the face. I would float it down.
Okay, can we make this happen if he ever goes to like a New York Comic Con? Just be like on your shoulder.
Yes.
But like the thing is, with John Walker in the comics, he's not as terrible.
Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy. Oh, I wish I had the confidence of a mediocre wife. That's all I want in this world. But like in the comics, John Walker's still not great. Like Rob Liefeld today was like, I'm Team John Walker. You should read comics. I'm like, I've read them. John Walker still sucks. Like,
U.S. Agent is awful.
No matter what, U.S. Agent and John Walker suck. And that whole fight, I was so happy because he went on and on and on about the fucking super soldier serum. He's like, I want to fight these Dora Milaje, but I don't have the super soldier. First of all, they're just women, so you just got beat up by women. They didn't have super soldier serum. You just sucked before, and then you still suck because Sam Wilson took you out.
Exactly. And you see the difference. Just go ahead.
Oh, I think Marla, you were about to say what? Oh,
Yeah.
just like the fighting styles were so great in that. Like Bucky's not pulling any punches, not this Bucky, but like, and Sam is still like defensive and not trying to like kill anyone because that's who Sam is.
And
you see the beginning that they're trying to like reason with him, like, hey, doesn't have to go this way.
Well, Sam is trying to reason with him.
Yeah, Bucky's like, I want to Bucky.
Bucky is the one who tells him it doesn't go that way. It doesn't have to go that way. But then he's like, I am Captain America. I'm not gonna give you the shield. And then they start fighting. So.
And then Bucky's like, okay, well, we're fighting.
Walker says you don't have to do this, and like Bucky's like, we got stuff. We got
he's like,
stuff.
you don't have to do this, and Bucky's like, we do, but what Bucky's thinking is, but we want to.
Maggie, what were you gonna say? What have you been trying to say this entire time?
The fact that John Walker doesn't use the shield as a shield, but as a weapon, he repeatedly tries to slice into people's heads.
Like, he tried to behead Sam.
He tried to behead Sam. Like the fact, like that alone says so much about his character, because he doesn't use the shield as a shield. He uses it as a literal tool to try to cleave somebody's head from their shoulders.
How dumb
as a weapon.
To be like a shield? I'm gonna use it as a weapon. It's a shield. The definition is that it blocks shit, and he's like, "Oh, we'll use it as a weapon." Like he's so stupid.
He's serious, and I think that
Rachel,
says,
language.
This
More on
says
YouTube.
so much about like he thinks of himself as a weapon, not as a shield, and Captain America is meant to protect, not to attack. And so that's the entire flaw of his entire ethos, is that he doesn't understand the mandate.
Well, we get that from his very first introduction when he has a gun. Like right off the bat, you're like, you missed the memo.
Yeah.
It's
not to attack, defend.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
feel like
we got to move on from the fight.
Yeah.
But it was. I know I shouldn't enjoy somebody's pain, but like he got his arm broke.
I
Like
really enjoyed his pain.
When he got his arm broke, I was like, "That's what you get."
I was like, as long as you don't show me his arm all broken and hanging, I'm fine with it.
It's like if you just let go of the shield, you'd be fine.
Yeah. It honestly reminded me of like when my dog would like fight play with his toys, with his dog friends. And they're like, no, it's mine. It's mine. And then I was like, but it's really sadder and a lot more emotion with it. Oh, and then we get that scene. Okay, we got to talk about this scene of when Sam picks up the shield finally, and he's like trying to like get the blood off of it. And Maggie, what did you tell us?
I said my goblin brain was like, that's evidence. You're destroying evidence.
But there's still and forensics. There's still traces of blood. So
There's video of everything.
Yeah, there's
exactly.
It's still evidence, people.
But I just want to say that's the first time I cried this episode, just because of the way Anthony Mackie, just the look in his eyes, and he played that like.
Throw him all the Emmys, please.
Oh, he's so freaking good. Just making me cry with a look. Okay, so Torres gives them an update, and then Bucky goes to look for Zemo. The GRC is raiding camps.
Wait.
And yes,
Not Bucky. Sam leaves his wings with Torres.
yeah, that's the next thing. Yeah,
Right. Yes.
yeah. And Sam leaves his wings with Torres. Does that mean we get a new Falcon? Because Torres knows that's the fixed stuff and knows mechanical stuff. So, are we gonna get another Falcon?
Oh yes.
In the next episode?
Yeah.
It's gonna keep nodding.
And it's like he says, sometimes there's nothing to do until there's something to do. So bizarrely wise, as Sam called him, but yeah, I think he's gonna.
Sounds like the film set thing of hurry up and wait. That's all I could think of.
I know, that's all I could think of. I was like, was this like somebody's way of being like, we can't use that? All the people will know what that is.
Let's think of something else to say.
Yeah.
All right. So, what did you guys think of Walker's hearing?
Okay,
more rage is coming.
so like he got dishonorably discharged. He got his benefits taken away from him, and he got like his rank stripped. So like he can't go to the Marine Corps exchange to buy cheap groceries anymore. Like sucks to be him, I guess.
Here,
A
look at
slap
cute
on the
Bucky
wrist
while you
at
guys get angry.
It was like a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
You're a white man in America who was famous for a minute. You'll get free stuff. It's okay.
He's gonna get a book deal. He's gonna become a pundit
Simon and
somewhere.
Schuster's will hire him real fast.
Yeah.
And you know there's going to be people who are like, you did the right thing. Which, speaking of which, we'll get to that. But you know who I'm talking. Oh my god, Bucky! I don't have anything else.
I feel like an attempt was made to sort of make a point with his sort of speech about how like the government and the military sort of, you know, train people to do things in a certain way and, you know, can create monsters and then sort of chew people up and spit them out and leave them to fend for themselves. But I feel like, you know, it was kind of nullified by the fact that he just like literally smashed someone's skull in.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm just like I don't really know. Like I understand what you're trying to say, but
a different character needs to make that point.
Yeah. It's like he's not taking responsibility for everything. Like he's blaming Sam and Bucky for fighting.
Far in denial.
Yeah, he's just like not taking responsibility at all for anything. And I want to say his poor wife. His like wife is like in the back the entire time.
I feel like she's sitting there mentally wondering if it's safe to file for divorce.
Like, get out.
But and this is the funny thing is that he was the one. Remember, Bucky was in this therapy, and he said like, no, he doesn't need therapy anymore. And this is the thing. Okay, Sam's been working as a counselor for veterans, so you can have a point. Okay. There's this point of being part of the army and then being back to the civilian, but it's not like the rule, right? I mean, you at the end of the day, you also have ownership and accountability for your decisions, basically. I think that's the point. It's not like, oh yeah, I did it because you guys trained me to do that. No, there's always a choice that you didn't take. And we see it later.
I couldn't tell if. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I couldn't tell. Like in his speech, kind of like what Laura was saying. Now that I think about it, are they trying to make us feel bad for him?
They have been trying the whole time.
I don't.
Yeah,
but
the way he yelled was
the
kind of
show
like,
trying to make us feel bad for him.
I feel like I feel like there is a conscious
Good.
effort because there is a lot to be said about like what PTSD and being in the military does to people, and I think that was their attempt to tread that line carefully because I definitely could see people who have been to war and have that trauma that like I think some of John Walker's like chaos brain comes from, that they were like, let's just like go the soft route because we still have to like have the military do stuff for us in like upcoming Marvel movies.
Oh my god. Okay, if I exit. I just want to say when
he's got opinions, Candace.
He said, "Wait, hold on, I have some things to say about John Walker."
We need to talk about him.
Yeah, he growled actually when he Walker came on screen. I know there's probably someone outside. I like to pretend that was because he knew.
Yeah,
he knows.
Yes,
he knows John Walker's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
That whole scene was the definition of that meme that's like men would rather murder a man in cold blood with a shield than go to therapy. Like that's what that whole thing was.
Yeah, 100%.
He would also rather pull somebody else out of therapy.
Yes. Also, can we talk about how it is that he didn't get sanctioned with like having to go to therapy, but like Bucky isn't allowed to like miss a therapy session?
I mean, in defense of that, Bucky deserves to.
True, but like, why didn't he? He just killed somebody in cold blood. Like, he should have at least got like a week of therapy for free.
Exactly.
And my conspiracy brain thinks
with therapy in general, to be honest. It's like,
I feel like they wouldn't have even discharged him if there hadn't been hundreds of videos.
Oh no!
Capturing
If there wasn't outrage, if it wasn't public outrage,
all of the discharge was for show. That's why they gave him the lightest sentence possible. It's all the public stuff, like. Yeah. No benefits, no like a dishonorable discharge, and you can't be Captain America. It's all the big stuff.
Yeah, we saw
like it always is.
They didn't even throw him in some county lockup for a week to cool off. Like none of that.
And he wasn't even. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna complain about the fact that he was like not even in military regulation with the freaking beard.
Yeah,
Maggie. That's like adding jaywalking to murder.
Yes.
Like, come on.
No, that bugged me. Like, still
go ahead, add the jaywalking.
Like, just
he probably jaywalked too.
He probably did.
Monster.
He crossed that street real fast.
I
We
can
don't know.
forgive,
Guys,
I can
everyone-
forgive beheading somebody publicly, but I cannot excuse jaywalking. I just totally butchered that meme, but you know what I'm saying.
I can, yeah.
You
Berta
can
from
excuse
Community.
Jay.
I can excuse jaywalking, but I draw the line. No, it's the other way around. Let's move on.
Yeah, he's a literal
Exactly.
murderer. Like Tyrion is saying,
And
like,
he's
he
not
should be
even
handcuffed.
sorry. I mean, he's not like, oh yeah, well, acknowledge, blah 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 blah. No, he just walks away like I don't give any care.
He's a
in the
white
world.
man.
I mean, the thing that I don't understand is like he keeps, and I feel like they're trying to do like a denial thing, but it doesn't really read like that. Where he keeps saying that like the guy that he killed is the one who killed Lamar.
Yeah.
He knows that that's not
Lying.
true. Like Carly killed Lamar, but he says it like to himself.
Multiple
He says it
times.
in the fight scene with Sam and Bucky, and then he says it to Lamar's family. Which
Yeah,
is
straight
like-
up lies.
Oh, that sister,
'Cause if
she
he-
knew.
If you repeat it
It's
enough,
just
then
like
it's true.
the classic like black woman look of like, I know
Oh,
you.
do you
Like, I
think
see
the
you.
sister watched the whole video where what's the
Listen,
guy?
you'll
who's
probably
killed
hear
Dave?
Nico on the video saying
Yeah,
it wasn't
Ni-
me, it wasn't
Yeah,
me.
Nico says it wasn't me.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sister knew something because the
What's
way
up?
that like the whole family believed him, and then it would cut to her, and she's just
She's
like,
like,
Like, no, dude.
She
I don't buy
probably
it.
didn't like him to begin with.
Yeah.
she would be right.
Yeah,
She
she
was
would be
right.
absolutely right, but I don't think she liked him to begin with.
Black
Okay.
women always know.
So there was a tease last week by the showrunner Spellman about how there's going to be a cameo by someone we would never guess who's never been on Marvel before. And we have Contesta Valentino Algarego de Fontaine.
Allegra de Fontaine.
De Fontaine, yeah.
She's Italian.
Played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is my heart. Veep is my favorite show of all time. Except I couldn't watch it during the
And
last
she was
4
the-
years.
Ex-wife of Phil Coulson in The New Adventures of Old Christine.
Oh, I forgot
That
about
was
that.
such a good show.
So
Oh
wait,
my gosh.
do you know that this character has existed in a Marvel movie because Lisa Rinna was her in that Nick
Yes.
Fury movie with David Hasselhoff?
In
Oh,
which
when
one?
the
In
Nick
what?
The
Fury.
Nick Fury movie from the like late '90s. Lisa Rinna, who's a Black
I've literally
Widow.
never heard of that.
The
Also,
only reason I've heard of it is because my brother, but she's a Black Widow, but she's playing Val.
Both sides.
also
Yeah.
technically, she like the character appears in Shield briefly, doesn't it? Like,
Which character?
Madame Hydra.
yeah,
She
my,
knows.
Madame
That's why the
Hydra,
name
yeah.
is so
Hydra.
familiar.
Yeah,
I'm like, I definitely haven't.
but
seen
I guess
it
it's because
before,
it's not
but-
MCU. It doesn't actually count.
Well,
When
no,
did
I
that
think
show
it's 'cause
stop
she's
being
not-
MCU?
I think it is. I think she does not count. We don't know if she's Madame Hydra yet, and there's like all these different versions of her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I have
that's
no
everyone just
idea who she
instantly
is.
said Madame Hydra.
Me neither, Laura. I'm with you.
She used,
Laura's just
in the
lost.
comics, she is Nick Fury's lover.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
yeah,
Julie
my
Louis-
friend sent me pictures and it was pretty fucking steamy. Like,
yeah,
They're
they
pretty
were
awesome.
I can see her and Samuel L. Jackson together.
That's what
Oh, yeah.
I said.
I was like,
excited
ooh.
about that. I said, "Ooh, I'll take that."
but is she, what I can't figure out is
Yeah,
that
secret
her
invasion.
introduction is like she's very coded as a villain. I mean, I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
the thing was like
She
very
handed
cringe.
him a blank card. She said, "Here is
Yeah,
a blank
it was,
card."
I don't know, that scene didn't really work very well for me.
It was-
Yeah,
I was
she-
I was
like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what her deal is. The dialogue is like a bit like trying too hard, and then she's just like gone. And I was just like, okay.
She was like, "You can call me Val, but don't call me this." And like, I was like, "Okay,
Yeah, it
chill.
was
I know that you're a
too
villain."
hard.
I want to hear, but one thing very important that she said, and in the hearing, the government says, "Hey, you have to give us back the shield," and then she mentions that it's a legal gray area because actually it's the government like a dirty little secret. So
It's
She-
not
she-
actually government property.
It's
Well,
Howard.
technically it belongs
It's
to
Howard's. Yeah, it's
Sparkle,
Howard's.
which is,
Howard's.
yeah,
Well, and
So-
yeah, it's Howard's. Actually, it's Morgan Stark's.
Morgan
So
Stark.
they need to go tell a
You
child.
need to go to a 6-year-old.
Yeah, give her
Who
the
wants to have that?
cheeseburgers.
No, Sam can just go up to Morgan and be like, "Hey, Morgan, can I take this?" And she's like, "Yeah, Uncle Sam."
Can I have a cheeseburger?
Uncle Sam?
Yeah. I love that he's Uncle Sam so much. And
Every
they call him
time
that
I
all the time.
giggle, and they're like,
giggle
"Uncle
too."
Sam."
Yeah, so funny.
Okay.
She also says, like, he was right to do the serum, and she knew that he took the serum too. Which I'm guessing people could just know seeing him on video and what he's doing.
No,
No.
I'm sure there was a
know.
report about it. There was probably
Yeah.
like he probably said something to the government or something, and like his
no,
debriefing.
I don't think the government knows. I think
You don't think so?
No.
I feel
I
like
think
they would
he
do
knows.
something.
I don't know. I don't trust the government. That's why I'm like the government probably knows and doesn't even care.
Well, I don't trust the government either, but I think if they knew, they would have like
He'd be in
used him
jail.
more.
I mean, this whole episode is
Oh,
about
yeah.
all the bad things that the government has done with super soldiers. So
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
they
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
would-
Well,
Pretty much.
They would want to.
Okay, let's go into that. Okay, well, actually, we're skipping a little bit. Okay, so
Yeah, don't
Carly
do
and
that.
the gang see the camps have been emptied, and they're like, "It's time," very dramatic. Zemo is in why can I never say that?
Sokovia.
Sokovia.
Because I want to say a real country's name. Sokovia. It's a fake
My baby
country.
boy.
Yes, okay.
Who's your
I
baby
had a
boy?
I would just like to say that
my
Zemo is the
God.
only person who can say ladies without being creepy, and he's supposed to be the villain. And it freaks me
extremely
out so
charming.
much.
Facts.
That
Yeah.
reminds me of a John Mulaney thing. He's like, no, who was it? I forget.
Was it Bo Burnham?
comedian.
It's the video.
No, it was the one who draws. Dimitri something.
Martin.
Yes.
Wait.
That was a long tangent. I apologize.
Right?
Can I just?
He's an actor.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
wasn't he a comedian too?
Yeah, he's a comedian too. He was a
Yeah,
stand-up
look at
comedian
this.
for like 10 years beforehand.
Oh, I gotta look into this. Anyways.
Can I just talk
Rachel's
about how
gone.
much like the monument just makes me feel so many things?
Why?
Also, because like I think the Sokovian storyline is like one of the most compelling storylines in the Marvel like cinematic universe. Like the ramifications of that in terms of like Wanda and like now with like Zemo. Like I think it's a really compelling story, and I want them to explore it more. And I really like seeing this memorial. And I have a theory that he wanted Bucky to come get him because in the previous episode, which was on the previous
the preview.
episode, he's like, I bet nobody's even gone to see this. Like none of the Avengers have gone to see the memorial. And then like,
Yeah.
where's the first place he goes when he leaves? The memorial.
I mean, all
Well,
of
even
Civil
says
War was
to
about
Bucky.
what
Yeah.
happened there.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason Civil War
Well,
happened.
Civil War was about how their actions affected them
Yeah.
and sort of
Collateral,
superpowered
yeah.
individuals. I think what Maggie means is she'd like to see it dive into the people
The actual
of
people it
Sokovia
affected.
who were like affected by it.
Like
Who-
see more of it with Wanda,
Yeah.
see more of it with Zemo, because it's all been in how, like Arzi just said, like the Avengers, how it's affected the Avengers. But there's like a whole country
The people.
that was devastated.
Yeah, the people
And
that
then-
was affected by the collateral damage.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Wanda will find her people or something. Who knows
I
what she's doing
know.
as a witch.
Wanda
Actually-
Zemo team up.
That's what I want. Like
Wow.
I'll take it.
If you look at the landscape, it looks kind of familiar to the cabin where Wanda is. So
Wanda's
maybe
in
it's just-
Sokovia. No, she's in the requisite Avengers cabins up in like
in
Western Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she really is.
Can I talk
Okay.
about one line in the Carly scene?
Mhm.
And this sort of ties into a lot of the issues I have with the whole Carly and the Flag Smashers story. She says, "How many times do we have to pay with our lives just to be citizens of this goddamn planet?" And there's sort of like, which is like a powerful line in terms of how it sort of, plays into the real world, but like within the story and the show, I still feel like so unclear about like who and what exactly they're fighting. And like a line like that kind of implies that like the GRC have been like murdering tons of refugees. Like, but you don't.
Or it's like
you
displacing
don't
them
see
everywhere
any
and
of
leads to
that.
death.
You're not told any of that. We actually never see the GRC in action.
No.
So I feel like
We did in the scene before we see them talking to Torres. We see them putting them like in police cars. And
yeah,
moving
but
them.
like you're not really
But-
seeing like them doing
things.
stuff that like
Well, isn't that the whole
Warrant
point?
this.
Is they're
Carly and
not
the
doing
Flag
what they said they were going to do?
Aunt
I feel like that's
May
part of the
did
thing.
more
Yeah.
in Spider-Man Far From Home than the GRC has done this entire series.
Yeah.
Aunt May
Yeah.
was like, I'll get
Yeah,
people
Aunt May
in
did
houses.
something.
and I feel like it does Carly and the Flag Smashers like such a disservice because you have
100%.
to understand what they're fighting for and what they're fighting against and how they've been treated to understand why they're doing what they're doing. And it's sort of being framed as like, oh, Carly's just kind of crazy.
No,
That's it,
my
like-
theory is the reason they have like the added bonus at the end plus Walker is because Sam's not going to fight Carly. I don't think there is. I'm hoping he's not going to. I'm hoping they like because he agrees with her. That's the thing. It's like in the previous episode, he talked to her and
I
he's
agree.
like, "Yeah, I understand. I don't agree with your methods." So I'm hoping they like Sam helps the people who she's trying to help too. But like, yeah, I wish there was more clarification because it was really weird, even at the beginning, being like, "These are our villains," which makes me think they aren't the
I
villains.
agree with them.
And I think
like, they are
That's the issue. It's like we agree. I'm like,
I think they're
And
right.
I think why that line, like you said, Laura, does them such a disservice is because for the casual viewer that isn't trying to look like deeper into what these characters stand for, the deaths that they've paid with were all because of Carly taking things too far. I mean, the power broker guys that came and killed the one guy in like episode 3 at the airport was because of Carly. Nico's death was because of Carly.
Yeah.
Like everybody's death has been because Carly has taken things too far. And so that line, as powerful as it is, hasn't been like given the appropriate weight because we haven't seen the GRC. They're just this like, okay, so they haven't been giving food, they haven't been bringing medicine, they haven't been delivering on things. Does it warrant?
but isn't the GRC Walker? Like, isn't Walker working for the GRC?
No.
Kind of.
No.
He
I feel like they give him his
represents a
words. They
faction
do
of
say
it.
that explicitly, I'm pretty sure.
We see the
I think-
senator.
Yeah, because
He
he's
like
based in New
travels with them
York.
to have international sort
Like
of
relations. He's the face, the
jurisdiction.
poster. Like
He's like the Dora Milaje have no jurisdiction here. Like, first of all, white male arrogance. But I think the other thing is because he's there with the GRC, like he has their jurisdiction.
Yeah.
It's
legally.
basically
And-
how
None of this is explained.
Yeah, I know. It's like we have
Like,
to
so
piece
much
that
context.
together.
it's basically the same idea of like Steve when he was the face of Captain America in World War II. He could do things, but they would yell at him behind the scenes. It's the same kind of idea of like Walker can go and do these things because he's our face, but like the minute he does something that's out of line, they like destroy him. In the same way, like if Steve went and like when he tried to rescue the POWs, if something had gone horribly wrong and Steve was like on camera murdering people, they'd be like,
No,
you're
not if they
done.
were Nazis. If they were Nazis.
Sweet Angel Steve Rogers
they're
would
not-
never.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that like the GRC was based in New York, I was like, oh, and then like the majority of people who were talking in that meeting were like Americans. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
And like that one senator, I think it's the same guy who's in
in the hearing.
In the hearing, he's obviously
Okay.
being coded as like an asshole. Like he's like the worst, and like not even the rest of like the council.
Oh, white
like,
man. Don't
agree
trust
with
him.
him. So I'm just like I find it frustrating because it feels like the show can't decide where it stands. And it's like sort of both sidesing everything and then not really making a point. And it's just
And I
just
do
wish they could
wonder-
get over and commit to like what they're saying a bit more.
And I wonder if some of the Flag Smasher stuff has gotten convoluted. Like I was just reading Nissa's comments in the thread because of that subplot that they allegedly had to like drop because of like weird like allusions to virus pandemic kind of stuff. There was some like story about how they had like the subplot. It's mentioned with the virus vaccination distribution in the first episode and then they dropped it. And so I think that there might have been
storylines.
more for the Flag Smashers and maybe more of how the GRC was failing to provide and that just got dropped, which sucks because I want to support the Flag Smashers. But if
But
they
is it
had,
not extremely sus that the Flag
Maggie.
Smashers are out here trying to vaccinate people and we're in a
Yeah.
global pandemic and they decide to take that out so they can paint them as the crazy people?
I
And
hate
also,
it. It makes me so
Dora-
mad.
And what was the surrogate mother who died?
Oh,
Madani?
Madonna. Yeah, she died from a sickness.
Yeah,
She's
they
trying to get
changed
help
it to
from.
be. They changed it to
Like-
TB, right?
Yeah.
So that actually makes a lot of sense, and yeah,
But
that
that-
would change them so much.
yeah.
Oh no! Okay, yeah, COVID. Fun.
Yikes.
I know.
Oh yeah, just yeah. So Bucky asked Ayo for one more thing. And I was like, "You've asked her enough.
I
knew
do like
nothing.
that she said, "Be scarce in Wakanda." She was like, "Don't come back here.
We don't want you."
right now."
Something before that when he faced Zemo, and I like how Zemo was telling him about Sam. Like Sam is as stubborn as Rogers, but you do what it needs to be done. So he was like calling to his Winter Soldier side, and then when he just points at him the gun, but it had no bullets, and then Dora Milaje was coming.
That whole scene was so good because I loved how Zemo
So
was
good.
like, "I decided not to kill you," and it's like it was super funny because like Bucky had also decided that he wasn't going to kill him too, so it was like,
I
We're gonna kill Bucky.
I hold no
Zemo,
grudges for
I
what
love
you
you,
thought
but how are you
we
gonna
had
kill
to do.
Bucky?
They have a nice little lakeside meeting just to be like, we're good. We're not going to kill each other.
and I went ahead and crossed my name out in your book. Like,
I know.
But like,
Really doing the most.
That scene was like, I mean,
Well,
I think
Zemo
that
needs-
moment with the gun and the bullets was like a massive.
Yeah, he's
Wait.
going to the raft.
wait,
and-
let's back up. Okay,
I'm lost.
Bucky wasn't trying to make amends with him. He was trying to get revenge on him.
yeah, but
So-
he ended up making amends in the end.
But then he
so-
chose not to.
exactly.
Okay, but the fact that Zemo crossed his name out of the book is just
Well, because
like,
he knew that Bucky is either going to forgive him or he's
kill
going
him.
to kill him.
Yeah.
Either
He
way,
said,
he can go out of
"I
his book.
hold
He
no
knew that this was
grudges."
going to end.
I think
Because
it's the
they-
opposite that Zemo thinks that his book is about amends, but Sam is like,
yeah, that's what
I
think
know what
too.
you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
you're not making amends. You're trying to get revenge, Bucky. And
I mean,
Zemo's
that
like,
moment with
"Oh,
when
we
he
got
removes the
amends."
bullets from the gun is like a massive sort of very on the nose moment of symbolism, and
Oh yeah.
It's so
it marks a
dramatic.
turning point
Yes.
in the episode and in Bucky's arc, because Bucky's basically saying like, I'm not a weapon anymore, I'm not a killing machine anymore,
No.
I've essentially removed the bullets from my chamber, and then from that point on it's like Bucky's got his groove back, like, like
Oh
I
yeah.
would watch that movie.
yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, it was a bit of I felt like it was slightly unearned, but like, yeah, it's after that point, he's a different Bucky from what
Yeah,
we've
he
seen so
smiles
far
a
in the
lot
series.
more.
He
He
claims-
does.
Smiles like
Yeah. Before we move on to the next thing, I put this in my review, but I was like, I have to say they made a massive flaw in thinking about taking Zemo to the raft with like a bunch of other like super villains. Like, this is how you get the Thunderbolts, and hey,
Yes.
like Marvel, I'll write it for you. But like they should have just sent him back to Berlin to like the random prison. Like, don't let him hang out with other super
Yeah,
villains.
I wanted to
Why
ask
would
what
you send him
the-
back to the prison? He can very clearly get out.
That's,
He's
I feel like
very
that's the only
good.
reason they're not
Yeah.
taking him there, because he knows how to get back out.
You
Bucky
should
didn't.
not
Bucky didn't
send
help
him
him. He did it by himself, right?
Yeah, he
He
literally
he could really get out on his own.
I didn't do anything.
Zemo. That's my favorite part. Whenever Bucky's like, actually, Zemo got out by like every time someone's like, you helped him get out. Actually, he did that by himself. I didn't do anything. I just walked out of the prison.
I just
I
sat
am
here and
James
looked pretty.
Buchanan Barnes.
Bucky has never done anything wrong in his entire life. We know this.
Except murder the
Look
stars.
at this wholesome boy.
Oh, look
Look at him.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, with his
Sweet
schmeedy.
Prince.
Such a sweet boy.
Okay, let's get serious. Sam goes to Isaiah with the
Oh my
shield.
god.
Oh,
Okay, just like claps for Carl Lumbly. He is
Lumbly.
amazing.
Respect. Mad respect to his performance.
Yeah, he was amazing.
And it was really heartbreaking how he portrays the reality of what was the past of a super soldier, but being and I see the parallel of him talking about rescuing these prisoners, and then Steve did the same, but Steve was applauded, and he was sent to prison. So you see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a parallel with Isaiah talking about, how he basically lost his wife, and his wife died whilst he was in prison and was told that he was dead. And like, obviously the direct parallel is that like Steve got a second chance to go back and be with his love, the love of his life. He got to be with Peggy, and Isaiah never got that. So they're doing a lot of sort of direct and indirect parallels between Isaiah and Steve. And yeah, I was really impressed with that scene in terms of the stuff that it was sort of set up in the first episode in terms of exploring what it means to be a black man in America, finally was kind of returned to, because I kind of felt like that stuff sort of disappeared along the way, and I'm glad they came back to it.
And Isaiah has these lines that he says, "Do you think times are different? Do you think things are different?" I mean, and he says they erased me, my history. I was tearing up at that.
That's
point.
the second time I cried in this episode.
The line where he was like, "Leave me dead," where he was like, "I'm dead," like don't bring me back. That killed me, and I loved. I mean, it pays off later, but I like when he says to Sam, "No self-respecting black man would take the shield," and then Sam has to like realize for himself that is Isaiah's point of view, not his own. And I think that's what I like about the show a lot, is that throughout the show, Sam has to realize that he has to make his own decisions. Because I think a lot of the time he was worrying about like, well, what does Steve want me to do? What does America need? What do I need to do as a black man? And it was like, no, you need to decide what you need to do, not what all of these factors are telling you.
Like what sits right in your soul and like with your confidence.
Yeah, and also the subtleties of he takes the shield to what the past, the reality of being a black man in the past as Isaiah Bradley, his reality that is the present. But then later in the episode, we see his nephews playing with the same shield. What is
I know that one.
So how is tied through along the episode, like the themes of what is the future? That was
this scene so much.
That was so perfect.
I love that because it's so real. Because like, what kids wouldn't play with a shield if it was like right there in their house, right?
And then when they drop it and they're like, "Oh," and run, I was like,
I think it's the older one who tries to like
put it back in the case.
It's a no-go and just takes off.
Too late. I gotta go.
He's like, "I'm into it," and Bucky's just like,
that was subtle,
Kid.
Okay.
So cute.
But yeah, that whole scene, because I knew that they weren't leaving Isaiah Bradley where it was. Like
there's no way they could.
I did think the majority of this episode was going to be Isaiah, and then the ending was going to be that fight we saw in the beginning. That was my theory. But I like how it is where Sam makes the decision to go and see Isaiah versus like the audience just learning about Isaiah Bradley. Because I hated... I'll get to it at the end. But with this show, the panel that I want more than anything in this world kind of like made it so that Sam had to be sidelined for a lot of the series in order for it to work out. And so like I knew that like if it pans out how I want, like I knew that that's what had to happen, but I hated that Sam was like felt secondary. But I really liked this episode because it like reminded us that this is Sam's show. As much as I love Bucky Barnes, like it is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I really, really liked how he had the I can't think of the word I want, but he was the one who went to see Isaiah. It wasn't like someone like, you should go talk to Isaiah.
It was his choice.
Choices and driving the action instead of things happening to him.
And it's
that's
lovely
what's happening
because
in the past episodes is a lot of things just happening to him because of the choice he made to give up the shield, even though that's not his fault. And he realizes like it's not his fault. He didn't know what was going to happen.
And Bucky realizes it too.
And along the episode, we see that he has already the skills, the character, the qualities to be Captain America. Because, for example, when he gets to his sister's home, and then he acts like a leader, like getting all these people together, organizing, being a team player. That was really, really organic. Like, hey, no, let's move on and work on the boat and get at this what we need to build it back. That was really fantastic.
And that was like such Sam in his element, like a man of the people with all these people from the community.
Yeah.
Well, so I was going to say, like, that's the thing is Sam has always been worthy of the shield and perfect for it. The problem was just convincing Sam that he was worthy of it. Like he was the one who second guessed himself. Obviously, Steve didn't, but this whole show I love because it like reinforces the fact that it was Sam who needed to understand that he was worthy.
Yeah. And also the fact, what I really love is that it like the show has been, and I wish it had gone a bit further with this, but it does sort of constantly call your attention to the fact that like empathy is Sam's superpower. Like, he's not a super soldier, he's not enhanced in those ways, but like what makes him special and what makes him worthy of that shield is his empathy and his ability to understand people and meet them where they are and try and talk things through instead of always going for violence or action or the fight, you know. And yeah, I think that's but it's the show like makes you understand that before Sam does, and then Sam sort of gets there by his own journey.
Maybe he had to see Walker be like this action guy and realize like this is not, you know, I have what it takes to be Captain America, because like he was really getting to Carly. Like when they were having that conversation in the last episode, like they made a connection and it felt like, you know, he could talk her down and maybe like work together. He says like, I don't want to shed blood. That's not his goal.
I think it was a mix between Carly, Isaiah, and later Bucky. He needed to have those 3 conversations and realize that where he comes from isn't like Steve's was always like, I will do what I need, like the best thing for the people. I'll be a good man. And Sam's is, I will sit and I'll listen to what people need. And like, I think his idea was always like, I don't see myself as a good man. I don't see myself as Steve Rogers. And that's not what it means to be Captain America. And so it took him having those conversations to realize it's like, oh, I can be the Captain America needs. I need to just get out of my own head about it.
Yeah, and he actually tells Bucky when they're practicing with the shield, you got to stop looking around for people to tell you who you are. But he was like in WandaVision, that something that Wanda said aloud is like, yeah, she was telling her to herself, same thing. He was telling to Bucky, but he was telling as well for
her. It's the classic, like, you need to follow your own advice. Like,
exactly.
And then he finally sort of gets there with that conversation with his sister.
Oh, I love Sarah.
Oh, she's
I love the dynamic between the two of them. They feel like siblings, you know?
Yeah, like, it's so good.
My roommate today had to tell me that she's English. Like, I truly was like, this girl's just from Louisiana. And, like, because she's so good in this show.
I would have thought she was from...
She's in... I've only ever seen her in American stuff. She's in Pariah, isn't she? I think that's where I've seen her before.
I love her.
I had no idea she was British, and I'm British. So.
I love her so much. She's just like, I don't care what journey you're on. I already know where you need to end up. You'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we talked already about Walker visiting Lamar's family and lying to their faces like a liar.
Like a liar.
I'm mad.
Yeah.
Again, I have never hated an MCU character this much before. Like,
it's weird. Like, it's just like, I want to fight him so much.
The thing is about him is that he's not even fun to hate.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, he's just the worst. Like, he just sucks. And I feel like it's
so absolutely.
And also, it's like, I feel like one of the things that I've struggled, and I think this episode really made that clear, is that like he's introduced to us as like a genuinely good, honorable man who's won loads of medals, and you know everything we know about him is that's about it. And then all we see him is as like the new Captain America, and then he goes from like that to like being like genuinely psychotic in like such a short amount of time.
Well, it was all microaggressions.
What's going on?
Did anybody trust him at the beginning when they're like a good man with all of these medals in this service record? Like,
no. Anytime I hear like a good man and it's a white guy, I'm gonna instantly say probably not.
That's what what's his name said to Steve when right before Steve got the serum was like, it's not about being a good soldier or a great soldier, about being a good man. And so I was like, I know John Walker because I like looked into all of this and read the comics and stuff before it happens. However, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch you. And then like all the little microaggressions where like Sam would be talking and he would look at Bucky and be like, "You gonna let me?" I'm like, I would punch you. I would
so dramatic.
He was awful from the beginning, but I think my point is that like you can be a trash person, but that doesn't necessarily equate to like psychotic murderer.
Well, that was
like,
the thing that was
ends up
like was so weird with him.
0 to 100.
It's like
so
he was twitchy. He was twitchy right from the beginning. Like he was like holding his head and like twitching and like he had like weird.
He has some sort of mental health problems.
I feel like maybe PTSD is what they were trying for, but
it's
But
never
at the same time,
done properly.
but even if it was PTSD, you have to look at it like Bucky at the point where he got the super soldier serum had PTSD, and the only reason that he went berserko was because they brainwashed him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Bucky, and
it's not a good look to.
And
It's
Sam
not a
also,
good
I
look
mean,
to.
also
villainous
Steve has
violence.
PTSD.
I
Like,
agree.
yeah,
too.
Everyone in the
it's just
MCU has PTSD.
Yeah, that's the
Seriously.
point I was trying to make.
Iron Man 3 made it very clear they all need to go talk to somebody.
Please, everybody go to therapy.
Everyone needs therapy.
Sam very specifically has a similar circumstances worth of PTSD to John because they both served in the military around the same time. Like
And they
Stephen
lost
Bucky
a
served in
friend.
World War II, which is still valid,
No,
but like,
right.
but the
Sam was his
circumstances.
best
are
friend
different.
too.
But
Yeah.
John
Sam was
had
his
already
best friend
kinda- John had already kind of started to go on I'm going to call it the dark side. He already started to go dark side before he lost Lamar. Like, I think
He was already
John,
going.
Yeah, he was already
Yeah.
going dark side, so he didn't even have the fact that he lost his friend. He was
No,
just
that was
like,
just
that's
the-
not my friend. I'm just going to go dark side. Yeah,
That was
like,
just an
it was-
excuse.
So would you say that
It
That was the
so-
catalyst. That's what it was.
It was so much ego. It was so much ego with him. Like the fact that he got beat up by a bunch of women was a huge deal for him, and they weren't.
They're
super
not even
soldiers or
super
anything.
soldiers. Like
They have been training their entire lives. They
I mean-
worked hard to be able to kick your butt.
Yeah, I'm sorry you played
respect
football.
them.
You don't
and he was like, oh, we could have been a team. He was like, if you're not with me, you're against with me, and stuff like
He
that.
peaked in high school. That's all we need to know.
Well, and like, I just hate, the only time I've ever looked at this character and been like, okay, is when he looked like Kurt Russell for 0.5 seconds during that like meeting. I was like, oh, why Russell looks just like his dad anyway, and this like instantly back into
It's
It
so
was like a
wild
break.
how Wyatt in interviews is Precious Baby. Wyatt, as soon as he's John Walker, is like,
I know.
I
Good respect. I mean, that's a good performance. Yeah.
very good at this
I
job.
said that today. I was like, oh,
Doing it
Wyatt
well.
Russell, I love you. You're so sweet. Like,
Yeah.
you have the coolest parents. Like, I love you so much. Also, like, if you were John Walker in real life, I would find a way to punch you in the face. I would go to jail happily. Just like find a way. Like that. I've never hated an MCU character so much. Not even Thanos. And I hate Thanos. Like, I just want to punch him in the face. Just boom. Just pop him
Okay,
one.
we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going because we gotta get through the rest of the episode. Okay, so Bucky sleeps over. He's like hinting at them. He's like, "I'm gonna go to a hotel," and they're like, "Sam's like, just stay over, man. It's so cute."
He's such a happy baby.
And he flirts with his sister by just saying hello, because that's what Bucky's do.
they really no homoed hard in this.
I know.
Well, no, I saw a joke today that was like, Bucky Barnes trying to flirt with both of the Wilson siblings, and it was like the video of Sebastian Stan cleaning his apartment that he posted on Instagram because of quarantine, where he's like going like this. I was like, yeah, he's flirting with both of them. He's like, I'll clean the boat.
He's like, I'm dating
And
one of
Sam-
these siblings. I don't care which one.
The boat.
Yeah.
Sam is like really upset. I'm like, is he upset because that's his sister or because he's jealous?
He's jealous.
It was definitely
what I'm telling myself.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole like I don't know. I just find that whole like possessive brother thing just like boring. Like, come on, we've progressed past this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
though
should be
he
better
is
than
like
that.
100-year-old assassin. That's the one person that might be maybe being protective against is okay. But though he has his new best friend.
Yeah.
There you
Best
go.
friend, partners, coworkers. We don't know.
I just
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I
that's
feel like
what you
episode 2 we got so much dope flirting and banter.
And they
Ever
twirled.
go
They
back.
spin in the field together.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
it was so gay. Like
I
that
know.
episode was so like I'm used to being like queer baited and like I queer everything and looking into things, but like that was like so blatant. And then they were just like, okay, you get one episode, that's it.
Yeah.
Now we're like,
We should have known. We
Yeah.
should have known when they were like, wait and see, as
Yeah,
if
I mean,
everything
I
has
know.
said that for the
Not gonna
last
happen.
decade.
Not surprised at all, but
Yeah.
I was asked if I was okay because I wrote an article about them rolling in a field together, and I was like, I didn't make the scene. They rolled
I
in a
made a
field
bit
together.
where I like paired that with the Brokeback Mountain rolling, and it's the exact same scene. There are even mountains in the background.
That's
It's like-
episode 2, Barricino, Attack of the Clones. Yeah.
yeah, I miss them. I wish they were boyfriends.
But one line that when they were playing with the shield,
When they were playing catch.
they went playing catch exactly.
They were training, Norha.
they
They were
They're playing
They were
catch.
playing catch.
okay.
They were playing catch.
But it
Let's
was
just
not
respect
Super Soldier
to see,
cat.
to see Bucky that he says that, hey, well, neither Steve nor myself understood what it meant to you, the
Yeah.
challenges you would face by getting that shield. So I mean, and he said, "I'm sorry." So
He
I
acknowledged
was,
his privilege. I was like, what? Oh.
Yeah, I was just like, I just watched an MCU superhero acknowledge white privilege, and like, I know the bar is in hell and it's the bare minimum. But, like, that just felt like a
Do we
pretty
move up like
big deal.
one level
like-
of hell?
yeah,
I was like,
it was like,
Well,
Yeah,
and it was
that-
like that scene the entire show. Every time he asked about the shield, I'm like, Bucky, it's a black man grappling with the fact that he was given the title of Captain America in America. You could watch the news. It hasn't changed much.
We know he does. He was watching Good Morning America.
Yeah, like I'm like, Bucky, come on. And then like so
But he
that
admits that he was so focused on it because he
Yeah.
saw the shield as his only family, which is kind
family.
of really sad.
Yeah, that
That's
little
totally
speech-
despair.
that little speech of his, I was so proud of him because like that's like the longest sentence he's ever spoken in his whole
know.
show.
It's like Bucky's
That's
speaking.
Bucky,
So
you're using your words. Introspection. I love
Using
this
his
for
words,
you.
not his fist.
Also, not,
Arzu? Wait, Arzu? Vindication?
I was right. I told y'all that Bucky talked to Steve before he left. And I was like, but he left Bucky. And what's Bucky going to do without his emotional support human? He knew he was going back. Like, oh my God. I felt so vindicated this morning. I'm like, I told y'all Steve was a better friend than that. And he was.
That always baffled me that people thought that. I'm like, I thought it was clear at Endgame, like they had a conversation. Like it wasn't like
it's because people are so not
At
used
all.
to Bucky speaking. They
Yes.
probably don't expect people to talk to him.
Yeah.
If Bucky doesn't talk on camera, he doesn't talk off camera either, apparently. But like, you know, Steve leaves and they have this goodbye that sounds pretty final, and Bucky sounds like he knows it's final. And then he leaves, and then Bucky turns like he knows Steve's gonna show up. And then Steve walks in and he's like, "Hey Sam, you go talk to him." And then Sam goes and talks to him because Bucky's like, "I've said what I need to say. I'm
Oh,
going to
I
talk
see
to
what
you."
you mean.
Aw.
Okay.
So
the thing
felt so
you
good.
posted earlier, the picture of Bucky smirking, laying on the couch. I love that because Bucky
one.
has on his dog tags. And my favorite thing about those dog tags are that they show that he has some kind of roots in Indiana. Because James Buchanan Barnes is from Indiana in the comics, and they were like, no, we're going to make him from Brooklyn with Steve. And on those, according to Sebastian Stan's Instagram from like a year, I don't know what time it is anymore, I guess 2 years ago, they say his sister is in Indiana on the dog tags. And so I saw them, I was like, the dog tags made it! Because I was like, they're from
I know. I
Indiana.
loved seeing those dog tags. I was so happy. But I love the like random throwaway line where it's like just it cracked me up when he's like using his right hand to do something, and Sam's like, "Why aren't you using that?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't even think about it because I'm right-handed." And I was like,
Aw, like,
He goes, it's not my first thought. Like, he's like, I don't even think about it.
I just love that
That's
scene
so
so
cute.
much.
Yeah, it's so good.
I also
Yeah.
like
Let's talk
when
a
he's
little bit
playing
more
with a
about.
knife.
Say that
Sorry,
again.
I liked when he's playing with the knife on the boat because it's very clearly like just Sebastian Stan was playing with a knife on a boat and they had the cameras on. Like it's not like it does not look like an actually filmed scene. It looks like they
yeah,
were like,
it's real
Oh,
natural.
I thought the
Hey.
opposite. It's a palette knife. I thought it was designed to show that he's like all he knows how to do with like knives is like fight. And this
Stab.
one is actually this is like
Yeah.
a tool. It's not a weapon. But yeah,
either
Oh,
way,
I
I
like
like that scene.
yeah.
It's just like,
I like
this knife.
I like the
So-
whole like fixing up the boat montage. It was good. And the
Sam?
music
That was great.
Oh yeah, yeah. The music's been really good. I didn't
Oh,
really
yeah.
notice or appreciate it until the last episode when that scene made me so sick. And
You
I was
mean
like, the
the-
music's part of it.
Oh, and yeah, kudos to Henry Jackman, who was also the music composer of Winter Soldier and Civil War. So that's why we see a lot of influences from both films into this series, because
This
it's
is
the same.
cinematic, y'all.
I would
Okay,
say
so-
the one look sounded like Riverdale. Like it happened, and I missed what happened because I was laughing so hard. I was like, "This reminds me of Riverdale," and I had to rewatch the episode to understand what was going on in the scene because I was laughing because I was like, "This sounds like the soundtrack to a CW show." But I loved it. Like after the fact, like it was just like that moment of like, I know this song. It sounds like I'm in this small town.
Okay, so we need to wrap this up. Okay, but something that Sam says, he's like, "Do you want some tough love?" Which means he loves Bucky. I'm just saying it now. But anyway, he tells him that you have to actually put the work in, and you can't just look for forgiveness for yourself. You have to be of service of others and make
Service
other
of
people
others.
feel better. And again, this man is brilliant and just like knows things, and he's counseling him, and it's just like the right thing. And I really think we're going to see Yori in the next episode because Bucky's going back to New York, and
yeah,
that's
for
where
sure.
everything is going to be happening. So
Gonna go
prepare to
full
cry.
circle.
I know. And then,
love that moment so much, and that
It's-
I feel like I just loved it. I'm obsessed with like, I'm so sick of sort of like redemption via sacrificial death, and I'm obsessed.
Yes.
with,
Yes,
like,
we did a
like,
whole podcast
like,
about
one of
that.
Yes.
I want
We did a whole
living, like,
podcast episode
You
about
don't
it.
have to
atonement
die
is so
to
important.
redeem
Living
yourself.
atonement, like exploring living atonement and what that actually looks like and what reparations look like is like so important in storytelling in terms of the conversations that we're sort of having in the collective consciousness right now about sort of punitive justice systems and how it just doesn't work. So I really loved that this show sort of said that with its whole chest and just be like, you need to be of service and you need to make them feel better, not
Yeah,
just
it's not
yourself.
about you. It's
Nope.
not
When
about
I liked
you.
the line where he says, Bucky's like, I probably have 12, and Sam goes, that's great, start with one. Because I think
Yeah.
that's also
Only one.
an important conversation where everyone is like, I have to apologize to every single person I've ever harmed all at the same time. And it comes out short and not genuine. And that
it feels
line is,
overwhelming.
Mhm.
yeah, it was just
Little
like, no,
one step at a
it's all
time.
that one person. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he says, you want to climb out of the hell you're in, do the work. And that just could be work that works for everything, you know?
Yeah.
Do the work. That's how it all happens. Okay, so we got a montage of Sam kicking ass, and when the music had that little, you know, that music started,
Oh,
with the thing?
Jesus.
that's like the third time I cried.
I was so happy.
I was
that
crying,
we
but
saw
I
him.
was so happy.
I'm
Because
so
I have
happy
a
that we
crush
saw
on
him
Sam
train.
Wilson since Winter Soldier, so.
Well, but it's so good because we're so used to seeing Steve Rogers just be like, "Oh, I'm suddenly super soldiered up. I can run. I can do these
Exactly.
things." And seeing Sam like, "No, I'm training and I'm doing the work and putting in the effort," was so
This
good. He almost died 3 times. That shield almost decapitated him.
it like drives me mad.
And
how
then
you never
when
see
he's
them
running
train.
and then goes past his nephews and he says, all day, like, I can do this all day, like,
Oh my god, I didn't clock that.
Uncle Sam, Uncle Sam. It was
Yeah, he's
like,
Yeah,
"Good,
I just
AJ."
I love that they showed him being crap. Like you never
Yeah.
see that in the MCU.
Nope.
Like everyone, even within this show, like so Carly and the Flag Smashers, by all accounts, are just normal people. And then they take the super serum and they're just suddenly like martial arts experts. And I'm just like, no, that never gets explained. And I love it. For once
Except-
you got to see him being crap and then getting better.
That's
It
wonderful.
felt
Except I
good.
think it kind of just that part with Carly like killing Lamar, like she didn't mean to kill him. So I feel like she didn't actually like understand.
Well,
his strength
there was that
completely.
whole scene in the first thing too when they're all like taking people out and like kicking people out of the way when Taurus gets hurt. Like they were all like
Yeah.
super good at fighting.
I'm like, how?
Maybe
At
the
what
power
point?
broker has some classes they took.
And the way they
Oh.
fought against Sam and Bucky
Classes
and
against
Walker.
Super Soldier
I know.
boot
That's why
camp.
it teaches all of them.
Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, when Steve gets the serum, like the
Instant.
person,
Run really
yeah,
fast
shoots
and-
Erickson, and he's running after the killer.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot. Oh gosh, okay,
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
let Maggie go loose.
What did I do?
Oh no.
I was
we
like, is it
forgot to
Zemo
talk about
again?
the scene. No,
No.
we're, Sharon.
man. Oh.
Sharon
But
scene.
one thing, right before we see Sharon in this shot, we see a painting.
That's
the
the Monet,
the
right?
raft. It's the
Raft one. That one.
The raft of the Medusa, which is it was a shipwreck that happened right in the front of the coast of Africa. That it was a veiled criticism against slavery back in the day.
But also Raft, where Zemo's going.
Yes, also Raft. And it's also symbolic because right now the world is upside down with all this, the GRC and the refugees and such. So in this boat, in this ship, they ended up practicing cannibalism, like fighting for survival. So it's kind of like, it was like really split of a second what it was shown, but it was kind of like interesting. Yeah.
But the subtitles give it away. She's talking to
Batroc.
Yeah.
He's not dead. Everyone was crying because Sam Wilson all them killed a bunch of people. He's fine. Batroc's alive.
Can someone fill me in on the connection between Sam and Batroc? Because
Batroc
in the first episode.
Yeah,
The first episode.
In Winter Soldier, the movie, Batroc is.
I know that. What happened to the first episode?
In the first episode,
They were fighting.
When Sam has the Falcon wings, he's first with Torres, he takes out a bunch of his men, and then Batroc gets away. And apparently that lost him a lot of money, so he's tipped.
Okay.
Well, I think
he's
the
mad.
plane that had all their money on it.
I was like, I have no idea what's going on, and I don't know what this scene with Sharon is supposed to be telling me.
I think the plane that they're on blew up, and all of the money and stuff that they had taken was on that plane. So he literally lost them all that money because it's gone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that makes more sense.
we got a theory. Talking to Maggie
Yes.
about this, about how maybe Sharon is using him as a way to get inside the Flag Smashers and not like want to murder Sam.
Yeah, I'm like, why did you help him if you want to kill him now?
Oh no, I think she was trying to help them connect because she's been helping them this whole time. I didn't even.
That's why I'm like,
that it
I was like, I
a-
really do not want her to be the Flag Smasher
And she's gonna
Power
be
broker.
him, right? I mean,
or the Power Broker.
He definitely is the power broker. I think
I don't
so, anyway.
No.
Well, wait, can I talk about fake Bryant Park? Because as a New Yorker, I didn't realize that was supposed to be Bryant Park that they're like meeting.
It was so bad.
Until,
I didn't realize
all
that
of a
was supposed to be the
sudden,
States.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
didn't
they're
even know
still
that
in
was
Europe.
New York.
So here's the thing:
Until
Bryant Park
someone
for not
tourist
New Yorkers or who have never been here is like there's a giant green field in it, which is weird for New York. And so their idea was just, oh, well, we just find a green field. People will think it's Bryant Park, and I'm like, no. There are like buildings in that park, and like you can see. Like the only reason I knew it was Bryant was because they showed the Empire State Building as like the literal view when you're in Bryant Park and look up. I was like, what? You guys have so much money, Marvel. You can't give your superheroes cars and also just like film one scene in Bryant Park. Like
It might have been during COVID.
yeah, but
This
it's
is when they're doing
Daredevil
COVID.
in Brooklyn all over
Or
again,
Georgia.
where they were like, "This is Hell's Kitchen," and it was
It's
Brooklyn.
Georgia.
It was so obviously Brooklyn. That drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Rachel,
ugh.
this is like my nitpick with Batroc, and they're like, this Algerian guy. I'm like, that man is from Quebec.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The accent-
That man is
accent
extremely from
given away
Quebec.
is
He's like famously from Quebec.
Extremely from Quebec.
I
Yeah.
know
Like
it's
not
that's
even
such a
trying
distinct
an
way of
accent.
speaking French.
Yeah.
I'm like, no francophone is gonna buy that this man is Algerian.
it's
because
just so
no.
nitpicky, but you're like, I can't let go of it.
can't.
It's there.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like-
Let's also talk when he meets Carly. He just has like a briefcase full of
Yeah,
weapons
what?
and shows it out in public like that. does
Yes,
that?
it's like,
Oh, wait,
dude.
People from Quebec, apparently. I'm kidding.
I know.
No,
what
I love
Canadians
Quebec.
actually do?
I'm kidding.
But,
What are all those people? So, like, everyone in that park was all aware that this was a meeting of the Flag Smashers, yet they all pretended like they weren't. If you were all
I
there,
don't
for the
understand
same
what
thing,
that
why don't you
was.
come?
So they
I
got an
literally
app.
don't understand what
They
Uh-huh.
have
that
an
is.
app,
Yeah.
and they alerted them like, "Hey, we need you." And the
But why
people
were they
who-
just like pretending?
They all stood up so abruptly for a
That's
second. I
kinda-
thought they were being
and it
mind
seemed
controlled.
like the whole park was also
All of Bryant
part
Park.
of this. Yeah, like I want one guy on his lunch break to be like,
Maybe
Oh
this
my
is what
God.
happened.
Can I get up too?
They saw everybody else stand up, and they're like, "Oh,
What
are
is
we
it?
standing now?"
Like a
Are we having
flash
one of those?
mob,
Like,
yeah.
is everyone going to break out in song?
Yeah, is it a
Yeah,
flash mob?
everyone's just
Flash
like-
mob?
just you look in the
I mean,
background and
this
one
is-
guy's like, anyone else know why we're okay? All right.
Wait,
Add it to
Yeah.
the list of
How he
like
was sitting on that
5,000
bench.
questions I have about the Flag Smashers and how they operate. I'm just like,
Yeah.
who is funding them? Where is this tech from? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know anything about them.
Carly is sitting on that bench, though. I was like, does that not hurt? Like you were sitting
Oh,
on like
sitting on the top.
the thinnest
Makes
part
it
of
look
the
cool.
Yeah, it's very
I'm
cool.
just-
Soldiers
As soon as I
have, like,
finish getting
padded asses,
vaccinated.
I don't know.
That's how I'm sitting on benches.
my butt could not handle
But,
it.
It looks cool. don't
Also,
get me wrong,
one thing that we jumped as the boat when they were painting the boat, when they are about to paint the boat, both
Yeah.
Sarah and Sam. And I really liked Sarah talking to him. And it's like, no, because he was going to go ahead and paint over the name of the boat. And it was lovely that she says, like, no, don't do it.
Nessa, you're so right. It
Wait,
was
can
a
he also
family
be
right
the
there.
one?
Yeah,
Can he be
he
the
would be
Uber
the
driver
confused.
who drives Bucky to the airport?
There you go.
Oh, we
Like,
forgot
No,
about that.
because he was walking the 44
Oh.
miles.
We did the math. It's like 45
did the-
miles.
It
And
would
I
take
mean,
what 14 hours to
For
walk
a
to
normal
the airport.
person. But he's like a soldier, so
Maybe
like,
he
Oh,
jumps.
yeah.
Maybe he does the Twilight jump and he just like bounds there.
He hops
Yeah.
tree to tree until he gets there.
Hold on, Spider Monkey.
That
The
was.
Spider-Man, there you go.
Yeah, Bucky doesn't know how to call an Uber or a Lyft. He's just like,
Yeah.
all right, bye guys. I'm gonna walk
Okay,
places.
so they're voting in the GRC, and I just want to know why are the lights like have that option to go red?
Because they're obviously evil.
Because he's the dog.
I mean, I would
Candace,
assume
why does your
that-
lights turn red?
Well, it's an
Alexa,
alarm.
lights
no?
red.
It's an alarm because the guys who change the lighting
Yeah.
are Flag Smashers.
I would assume it was like an alert
One world, one
system
people.
where you
Yeah,
know
they
that
say one world, one
problem.
people, and then.
Yeah, it sounded kind of
Something.
like K100. Anyway.
But I only clocked that on the second watch that those two guys are Flag Smashers.
Yeah, the guy in the denim jacket from Bryant Park, in quotations, is the guy. I
I
didn't
wonder
get
why
my,
there was
like,
like
I
there was
really
like a
pointed it out to
focus
me.
shot of him, and I was like, why am I looking at this man?
That's what I realized, because she was like, "Why is it out of?" Oh, it's that guy, and I was like, "What?" And then I realized it was denim jacket guy.
right.
Is
right,
the
right.
guy who does the alarms and stuff.
So yeah, so the very last, well, the last scene is Sam opening. Oh no, that
No,
this
not
one.
that's
in the
Ah,
box.
sorry,
This
clicked the wrong one.
Okay,
The box.
I did quotes. You didn't see my
What's in
quotes.
The box.
It's what's in the box, and Wakanda made it for him.
Oh, it's
Someone
that.
named
It's
Wakanda.
his outfit, and I can't wait.
I cannot wait to see
Yes,
it.
outfit. Has to
And
be
I
an
think
outfit.
new wings
hope
too.
it's
I think he's still gonna have wings.
Well, he
That
does.
is cool.
He does in the
Can I-
comics,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah,
just say
very
I love
cool.
that they like made him a new costume and they even made a nice box to go with it. Like
Yeah.
it's all
So
about the
convenient.
presentation.
Yeah, they were
That's
like, "Fine,
awesome.
Bucky, but you gotta put it in this nice ass box."
Also,
And
like,
they're gonna-
what
it's
is
just
the
with his
timeline? Like, how
Exactly,
to
Laura.
make that in like about 12 hours? Like, I'm
They're
Yeah.
very.
How did they get his fingerprints? Because he like puts his fingers on it, and that's how it opens. So it's like Wakanda,
Well,
like, we gotta make this.
Maybe
like,
Wakanda's
I don't know.
good,
Maybe
but, like,
there's a
Wakanda's not that
technology
good.
that they go to the Wakandan labs and you enter and they scan you.
Maybe they have it
Yeah.
off of something else.
Yeah, when he
and they
went
were like,
to
"You were here that
Infinity
one
War.
time. You were here that
Yeah.
one time. We got
They
your
fingerprint all new people.
And they had his
So-
sizing and everything.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
had everything.
They're just
I guess
that
it's one of
good.
those superhero things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing about the show I love is they address the like earbud things, because that always drove me insane in these movies where they would all be talking. I'm like, how can any of you hear each other? And then this movie they were like, we have these earphones that we all
Yeah, like
have.
they just like pick
and-
one out.
Yeah, we have Wi-Fi that connects through all of the blown up
World.
Avengers compound, and we all talk to each other. And I was like, all right, thank you, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I have no more questions.
No, it was good because they even had like showed that Zemo and Sharon were all on the same one because
Mhm.
they all took one because you're like, how does the villain like know their frequency kind of thing, and they just all
Yeah,
happen to
there
have
you
the same
go.
one. But okay, so the very actual last scene, Arzu.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you,
Now
Nora,
they're
for
right.
telling me there was a post-credit scene.
It's credit,
And
yeah.
so Walker's getting his Etsy shop ready.
He's making some fan merch.
Walker's
Yeah.
having a very normal one.
Yeah, you know, just started,
Full
he's
cosplay.
retired. Yeah, cosplay. He's ready for cosplay.
like
He
cheap.
thought he was Tony Stark in Iron Man. Like you never.
That was a nod with
never
the
would
hammer.
get that. Never.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, so the shield is made of vibranium, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the most powerful thing in the Marvel universe, like
Yeah.
element. So when this sees this little metal thing, what's gonna happen?
Like
Just
he's
hope he goes-
essentially making a dustbin lid.
It's gonna snap like a cookie.
Yeah, I hope I hope Bucky is like
What?
Yeah, his arm even.
throw it behind his head.
Like,
Well, like-
wads it up in a ball.
So I got really excited today because the panel I've wanted this entire show to have, there's a comic where like Sam and John Walker just go at it, and at the end, like Sam is standing above John Walker and he's like, "I'm Captain America, deal with it." And the whole scene is about how John Walker sucks. But in the specific panel that I want this show to do, it is Sam in the new outfit with his own shield, and John Walker's on the ground with a shield, and he's laying with the shield like back, just like bloodied. And I didn't even recognize that there were two shields in that scene until I was looking at it again today, and then remembered this credit scene. I was like, oh my god, am I gonna get what I've wanted this entire show to give me the whole time, which was just that one shot?
That would be fantastic.
Oh my goodness! I hope it breaks like his arm.
Great.
No, and
Yeah.
also the symbolism, because that sound, when I was watching the mid-credits scene, and then you hear the hammer, you immediately think of Iron Man, and it's like, crap, but this is the moment when you have a hero, like the beginning of a hero. But in this case, we have the world that is upside down. It's a villain.
Well, it's kind of
So-
like Iron Man 2. We see Mickey Rourke's character
Yes.
doing some
Yeah.
metal work too. Is he just like in his garage? I wonder what his poor wife is thinking.
Yeah, this
Like,
girl
I don't-
leave. Why?
Yeah,
like, just go.
Just go somewhere.
Just go elsewhere.
Well, also, I don't know what because it feels like they're setting him up to be a villain for like in a more longevity way than the next episode. I don't know. I would feel, I don't know. I'm like, so is he going to exist beyond this show, or is his demise going to be in? Because it feels like this is his villain origin story, and then there's one episode left.
Yeah.
I think
Feels
it
very
might-
abrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might. I mean, they're introducing Val, the Contessa, and
Yeah.
also, I mean, Hydra is still around, or the bad guys. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tyrion's
U.S.
asking,
agent comes back a couple of times.
what's with the metal that he was putting on his shield?
I was
that
wondering the same thing.
It was either his
Yeah.
it was either his or
Or
Lamar's.
Lamar's.
I thought it was Lamar's at first.
Yeah.
Did it become a part of the shield? Did I miss that?
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
he was trying to. However, I just want to say those shield, like that soldering would have killed it.
Yeah, like
Scratching
you're
himself.
gonna like hammer it right into the metal. Like I don't know what he thought he was
just
gonna do.
getting some spray paint and being like, "Let me make this shield real fast."
I am Captain America.
yeah, you're ready for Ace Comic Con,
Don't
guys.
get his obsession with like, no, I am Captain America. I'm just like, it feels like so personal, but we're never it's never explained like why it's.
If you're
so
nothing
personal.
without the suit,
You don't.
That
you
was
shouldn't have
that's
it.
always such a weird comparison because like Tony Stark's whole thing was like, yeah, I am Iron Man, and it's like, but his ego wasn't tied to being Iron Man. His ego was tied to his intelligence, where John Walker's ego is tied to being Captain America.
which
and
he's
so-
been for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and so it's like,
Just
like,
still.
dude,
Well, if it's like what Maggie said, and he peaked in high school, and this man is in at least his mid-30s, then he has not felt that high in at least
Again.
15 years.
Yeah.
And it's he's
Like, I
finally
can-
on
I
top.
can-
He's finally the special boy again, and he doesn't want to give it up.
yeah. Like
he's
that
not
makes
like
sense when
that
you say that, but I don't get that from the show. Is not giving me that.
They're
That's
saying,
what
but they're
I'm
saying
struggling
that he was like had all these awards beforehand, all these medals, so he was a big
Mhm.
deal in like the military.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did a lot of really bad
with.
things
I
that
just
cost a
don't
lot of
really know
time.
who he is.
I don't know
Yeah.
like too much about the military, but if you're getting a medal for XYZ, I assume there are other people getting a medal for the same reason at the same time, right?
Depends.
It matters what you did.
Sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking if
Wait.
that was like a shared valor, this is like his.
all of the
You know?
Americans.
I thought that
went,
might be it, but
"Well,
Eh.
kind of no.
No.
My sister was in the Air Force for a while, and I have no idea.
I'm an Air Force brat, so.
Oh, yeah. Maggie of all people should know.
I know.
Maggie.
I mean, it depends on like the mission and what's going on. Like people get awards for like if they save somebody, obviously the person who saves not going to get the "you were saved" award. Or if they like do like heroic acts and like it's whole lots of nonsense. But
Medal of Valor, isn't that normally though when you are like done with the military and you have done something that like basically you and one other person maybe survived?
I think it's whatever that thing that he and Lamar talked about in the previous episode, that like really horrific military incident that they had. I think that's where they both earned their Medal of Valor.
It's the highest decoration for bravery. And but Medal of Valor is actually something for like cops and stuff, for public safety. Medal
It's different.
Honor is military.
It's
different.
It's for acts of valor. It's Medal of Honor for acts of valor.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you all would like to say about this episode? Feelings? Maggie, is it about Zemo?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Goblin brain.
Okay. Bring it out, Goblin brain.
The Power Broker episode, they showed that Monet painting, and they showed the Monet painting again on the end of her Sharon's scene, and the Monet painting is of Madame Monet and son. And so like my Goblin brain with the combination of the raft painting and then also like him going to the raft, like wife and son, like.
So
Goblin brain is not so crazy here.
There you go.
Goblin brain saying that he's the power broker?
No, but that's setting up for something else.
Okay.
Like with the raft.
Yeah.
Because there's also the scene where Zemo's looking at a painting.
Yeah.
But I don't know what my Goblin brain's trying to deduce. I just saw the connection. Like I took art history in college, so I was like, I know that Monet.
Yeah. Also, well, I just want to go back to the boat and the shield that are symbols of the past and Sam's history. And at this point, he's about to, I'm going to paint over the names. And his sister, Sarah, she makes a point like, hey, there's a fight out there. You've been fighting out there. You've been fighting here. But you take them both. So it's really nice how these symbols is not like erasing the past. You don't let the past die. You can lose your history, right? So I like how he comes to this acknowledgement of, and he says, what would be the point of all this pain and sacrifice if I don't want to be willing to keep fighting? So that was really nice.
Also, the fact that he was willing to paint over and give up the boat. That's also character development from the episode 1 where he's like, we got to fight to keep this. But no, he's like, no, we can sell it because this is what the right thing to do for my family is. So he was about to do it. He got the paint ready, everything, but Sarah stopped him. So again, that shows so much growth.
Growth.
Character development. That's what like I love about these series is like I care so much more about these characters than even the movie characters before.
Exactly, because they were satellites around Steve, around
even
Thor,
the main
about
characters
Tony.
of the MCU, I have not felt like this about because there's just so much time to like really develop them and get to know them.
Yeah,
like, Sam has become like
the films are all slaves to plot, basically. Like plot is always the paramount, and the character is like.
Well, what's nice is like even on movies where you can actually explore the character, like Iron Man 3 is my favorite Iron Man movie,
it's really good.
Because you are exploring Tony's PTSD and like the struggles that he's facing because of everything that's happened, and people don't like that movie because they're like, oh, what happened? I'm like, he struggled with his PTSD. And so I like these shows because it's what I loved about that, but they're exploring it in these long form series, and you are also like, you have both things that you want in these movies. You have these plots where like they have this huge fight with John Walker at the beginning of this episode, and by the end Sam has this really nice moment with his sister where his sister's like, are you gonna let Isaiah Bradley dictate what you do?
Yeah.
And I liked that she said that to him because he was so in his head about like, well, what did Isaiah tell me to do? What has Steve told me to do? And he didn't even listen to his own advice to Bucky. Like he didn't make his own decision. And it took Sarah being like, what are you going to do? For him to like actually start training with the shield and realize that that's what he wanted.
I'm going to cry next episode again.
I'm heartless. I cry at nothing.
No,
I cry at
cried,
nothing.
Oh,
I
I cry
cried.
at everything.
I'm a Scorpio and a Sagittarius moon.
my lunch
I
break,
don't
I'm
know what
watching
that
this, and
means.
I'm just like,
Pisces
why?
moon. I never stood a chance. All I do is cry.
No, yeah, I cry. But like the only thing in the MCU that's made me cry, a little bit of WandaVision, but then Endgame, the death, but that's it. Nothing else has made me feel like these kind of emotions before. But I cried like straight up 5 times, and I was like, what are these tears?
I think I
today?
can count on my
This is
hands the number
water.
of times I've cried at a movie. Like, I just don't cry.
That's
Wow.
fascinating.
Can't imagine.
I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
it
yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very keenly, and I'll think about it
Same
forever,
as
but
William.
nothing
Same.
comes out of here.
I can tell you stories about me sobbing in movie theaters and being super embarrassed.
I could tell you about one that happened on December 19th,
Okay, Maggie,
18th,
we know.
2019.
We know.
That's
Okay, on
that's
that
one of the
note,
times I cried.
Everybody, oh, speaking of Star
Wars.
Wars,
That was the segue I was setting up.
It's Segment Monday, our spin-off Star Wars podcast. Links are on our Twitter, geeky_waffle. Please subscribe. We're so excited. Our zoo has the power. And
To make it all Raylo.
not going to happen.
Yes.
I'm reeling her in with Raylo. Okay, so
It's
you
going
can
to start
find
with a
us at
Kylo minute, and it's going to grow from there.
Perfect.
the Kylo corner.
We live in a
Yeah.
Kylo
I'm
cinematic
Team
universe.
Candace.
Remember?
Candace is like, it's a corner.
It's a corner that's eventually going to become the whole room.
Okay. Anyway, you can find that nonsense at thegeekywaffle.com.
Wow.
Yeah. And Candace is a geek. Geeky_waffle is where we also are. Arzu, where can people find you?
I am at Arzu on Twitter. I am at arzud2.com, and I am at the Geeky Waffle with all of my not nonsense, but brilliance.
So much brilliance.
Much brilliance.
I am Maggie. You can find me writing reviews for the Winter Falcon and the Winter Soldier every Friday at the Your Money Geek. I'm over on Twitter at Maggie of the Town, and I'll be doing all sorts of things. Fun. I'm very tired.
And this is Norhal. You can find me on Twitter on my account, this one, at Norhal, talking about pop culture, Marvel, Star Wars, even just music. So there you go.
Yeah, and I'm on Twitter at Laura_K_A. And I'm a writer-director. You can see my stuff at laurak-a.com.
You can follow me on Twitter at Rachel Leishman. You can read me at the Mary Sue, and I host the Pedro Pascal, where we go through Pedro Pascal's entire filmography and talk about it.
Which I will be on at some point.
Everyone here is
Awesome.
invited to come
Yes.
on Pedro Pascal.
We
Maggie
know-
was
we-
just on it.
I just
was.
found out, Rachel, he was on the Great Wall, and now I want to
Yeah.
watch
Oh,
it.
that movie.
Yeah, I still
I
need to watch that.
That
Call
is
me.
the only one.
It's so bad.
Not the only one.
No,
I
that's
have
why I
not
want to
seen
see
that.
it. I love that
We
movie.
did an episode of that for Petticoats and Poppies because it's a historical film. So I made Nicole watch it.
Oh,
Candace, you are more than welcome.
Yeah, call me
Please
for that.
talk-
yes.
I
Great
need
Wall.
an excuse to watch bad movies. If I'm like, it's for content, it's
Yeah.
better.
He is
Yeah.
nice.
Same.
The
Well,
movie's
Norhal
so
and I-
bad.
Very nice movie.
Norhal and I have both been going through Narcos at the exact same time, and I'll see her things, and I'm like, got that to look forward to.
Okay, so yeah,
Yes.
Pedro Pascal. This is the Sam and Bucky Squared show. Bucky is currently napping. It's his bedtime. So good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Yeah.